Hey guys, and welcome back to Forever Talk Wrestling. It's David Hoyle here with my Monday Night Raw review. But before we do get into anything, I'd just like to say how sorry I am. I haven't been uploading as many of these as I would have liked over these last few weeks. I've just been very busy. But hopefully these Raw reviews, they'll be coming back more regular now. Okay, the first match of the night was between Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle and Elias, and they were battling for the final spot on Team Raw for Survivor Series in a triple threat match. Now, Matt Riddle, he was on the NXT Survivor Series team last year and was looking to get on to the men's team this year. And that would have been his second Survivor Series in recent years, because he was on NXT last year and on Raw this year. So, yeah. So, it's definitely Elias bringing the pain at the start of the match. Elias bringing a bit of pain to Jeff Hardy. Now, those two have had a really fiery rivalry over these last few months after Elias claims that Jeff Hardy hit him with the car during what happened on SmackDown Live before Jeff Hardy's Intercontinental Championship semi-final match. So, yeah, that's where the rivalry started, and the rivalry did continue on Raw last week with the Guitar on a Pole match. But Matt Riddle really gave Jeff Hardy a hard match as well. I mean, Matt Riddle really dished out a lot of punishment to both Jeff Hardy and to Elias. It was a really tough match in the triple threat where Elias hit Jeff Hardy with a knee, and then Matt Riddle hit Elias with the drifting bro for pinning Elias and booking his spot on the men's Survivor Series team. What a good night for Matt Riddle. Now, Drew Gulak, he felt confident last week after his 24/7 title win with a bit of help from the Hurt Business last week, after Bobby Lashley really dished about R-Truth in their match, and then he dished the pain to Drew Gulak last week before placing Gulak over R-Truth, and Gulak winning the 24/7 championship. And this week, he tried to join the Hurt Business. But the founder of the Hurt Business, MVP, or if you want to call him that, he said that they weren't looking to bring anyone in at the moment. So, yeah, really. And then the Hurt Business really brought the pain to Drew Gulak. And then, once the Hurt Business had done with Drew Gulak, the former 24/7 champion R-Truth, he was around backstage at the time, pinned Drew Gulak to win back the 24/7 championship, which he lost to Drew Gulak last week. Now, another match that has definitely been because is Lana and her problems with the women's tag team champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Now we know that Lana tried to go on the offensive early, but the Queen of Spades quickly overpowered the effort. Nia Jax really gave Lana a lot of hurt in this match, including bringing a lot of pain to her arm. What happened was that Baszler had her arm in a really difficult, in a really sort of like that position before jumping on it and causing Lana a world of pain. Before locking in the coquina clutch to force Lana to tap out. Now, straight after the match, Baszler teed up her teammate Nia Jax, who was getting rid of everything on the table, ready to slam Lana through it for an 8th successive time. But teammates on the women's team, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, came to her rescue and saved Lana from yet again going through the announce table. And I wonder what the heck's gonna happen between those 5 come next week and at Survivor Series. We really don't know what's gonna happen there. Now, we know that the women's Survivor Series team, they've had some problems of their own, but the men's team are really disliking each other at the minute. A mix of blood and explosive personalities have pretty much made the men's team on the men's team Raw a combustible combination of superstars. Now, as the self-proclaimed captain AJ Styles tried his best to pull the team together, and a tag team clash was the latest effort to do so. But the Phenomenal One may have regretted his decision when Styles was sandwiched between Braun Strowman and Keith Lee. Now, we know those two really haven't been getting on with each other over the last few weeks, especially after that match those two had on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, which was just the week before Hell in a Cell. Now, it was also about individual agendas, as each superstar took turns delivering punishment to the other. But the Celtic Warrior Sheamus bro-kicked the Monster Among Men to set him up for a roll-up by Riddle, with Keith Lee and Matt Riddle walking out victorious. But Team Raw is now as fractured as ever after that match. Now there was a championship match on last night. The United States Championship was set to be defended last night on Raw. When Titus O'Neil stormed out to the ring to voice his displeasure with Bobby Lashley's United States title reign. Now O'Neil definitely brought the fight to the champion and came out swinging after the opening bell. But the almighty Bobby Lashley flipped the script with a spear and then locked in the full Nelson or the Hurt Lock, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, to force Titus O'Neil to tap out and also quiet the big man down. Now, in a match between Asuka and Nia Jax, that really brought out a really brutal match between Asuka and Nia Jax. Now, we know those two have had a bit of a rivalry after Asuka and Nia Jax had 2 matches against each other already this year, with Asuka facing Nia Jax at Backlash, which Asuka won, which Asuka defended her title as both women were counted out, and then Nia Jax was beaten in the rematch on the Monday Night Raw episode after Backlash. Now the Irresistible Force definitely controlled the early part of the match, with her fellow Team Raw members watching at ringside. But after a distraction from Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke and Lana on the apron forced the Raw Women's Champion to put Nia Jax into an Asuka lock. With Asuka's hold clutched in, Baszler came to the aid of her fellow women's tag team champion to force the disqualification. And after the bell, Jax took out her frustrations on the other Team Raw women's tag team members as well. Now also, Jax took out her frustrations and kept the streak going with another smash to Lana through the announce table. So what's going to be happening between the women's superstars come Survivor Series, and also what's gonna happen to the Team Raw women's team? Now, after reclaiming the title earlier in the night, R-Truth was caught off guard with a 7-way 24/7 title match. Now, the opening bell set up for Tornado, a title changes as Akira Tozawa, Eric, Drew Gulak, Tucker, Grand Malik, and Lindsay Dorado all held the title at one point during the match. Now, after Dorado pinned his Lucha House Party teammate, R-Truth then took advantage of the shock to win the 24/7 title for a record 44th time, and then took off out of the building. Now, following last week's brutal assault at the hands of Retribution, Ricochet set out to get some payback against his former teammate Mustafa Ali. Now, Ricochet was sent flying. Now, went flying, guys, to take out the ringside members of Retribution. But also gave Mustafa Ali one hell of a tornado DDT to send him onto the concrete and cause him quite a lot of pain. But Mustafa Ali used the ropes again to take out Ricochet. Well, Ali thought he had the match won, but then Ricochet at the last possible moment kicked out, and the match continued. But Mustafa, he definitely said something to Ricochet as well. In fact, he said to Ricochet what he said last week. The sin will not be forgiven until he is punished. That's what he said to Ricochet last week. And then Ricochet then went up to the top rope as he went flying to take out the ringside members of Retribution. But then he turned his attention to Mustafa Ali. And then tried to go with a moonsault, but it didn't work. And then Ali locked in the Koji clutch, which then caused Ricochet to faint, and Mustafa Ali came away with the victory. And in the main event, Randy Orton, The Miz, and John Morrison faced the Raw Tag Team Champions, The New Day, and Randy Orton. No, not Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre, sorry. Now, the Scottish superstar had really been giving the Viper a lot of hurt to him, and also said last week that it's time that Randy Orton accepted his rematch, and he constantly stared down the Viper during this match. But still, yet again, Orton refused to get into the ring. When Drew McIntyre was in the ring, gave Morrison a belly to belly, and so he gave The Miz exactly the same thing. And then he gave The Miz and John Morrison a double belly to belly, as he then stared down the Viper and dared to get into the ring with him, and then he did a neck breaker on John Morrison before yet again staring down the Viper and then hit John Morrison with a future shock DDT before then staring down the Viper one final time, but trying to get him to come into the ring before Orton then decided against it and then headed up the ramp clinging to his title. With McIntyre's attention turned, Morrison tried to steal the victory, but then the New Day held out Drew McIntyre then to stop Morrison stealing the win. Then The Miz got a backbreaker to him before John Morrison tried to do I'm not exactly sure what he tried to do before he tried to do a drop kick and was brought down by Drew McIntyre before he was hit by the most dreaded thing in sports entertainment. The Claymore ripped right by McIntyre on Morrison, and McIntyre got the victory for his team. And what a win that was for Drew McIntyre. So the question now remains, what is going to happen on Monday Night Raw next week as before the match between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre last night, also involving The Miz and John Morrison and The New Day in that 6-man tag team match. It was announced by Adam Pearce, the WWE official, that Randy Orton will be defending his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre next week, and that also the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, will go up against Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander of the Hurt Business. So, will there be title changes next week? Will Drew McIntyre get back his WWE Championship, which Randy Orton stole off him? And will the Hurt Business claim Tag Team Championship gold when they face off against the New Day? It will be very interesting to see, guys. But remember, guys, who do you think is going to win the WWE Championship between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre next week? And who do you think is going to win the Raw Tag Team Championships between the New Day and Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander of the Hurt Business next week? Let me know down in the comments. And also, like and subscribe to the channel, guys. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope you have a terrific night. Good night, guys.